What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Tudor Black Bay 58. And I am so excited about the fact that I had the chance to spend a few days with not one, but two Tudor Black Bay 58, the regular steel and the 925, which is silver. I've spent a few days with both of the watches thanks to two of my good friends. One of them is actually selling watches at Burke's in Calgary. If you guys are in Calgary and you want to go check out some watches and you want to go to Burke's in Chinook and ask for Josh, he's a great guy. I bought some watches from him. Some of my friends bought watches from him. He's a great dude, and the best part about this guy is he's not pushy. And this is the best thing that I love about it. So if you want to go and try some watches, go and ask for Josh. Thanks, Josh, for giving me the Black Bay 58, absolute beauty. And I want to review it and tell you the things that I like, tell you the things that I maybe didn't like about the watch, as always. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Now, I did have some history before with the original Heritage Black Bay that was introduced in 2012. I've had it on my wrist, I've spent some time with it, and when the Black Bay 58 was announced in 2018, I felt like I was already familiar with the watch because of that. Now, that was up until last weekend, and those things changed because although the Black Bay Heritage that was introduced in 2012 was supposed to be a more modern version of the dive watches from the 1950s that Tudor had, it basically became its own identity. It was a little too far from the dive watches from the 1950s, mainly because it was, 41mm case, and that was not something that was done in the 50s. With that being said, it was on a thicker side too. I had a completely different dial, although they intended to make it similar to the old one. It kind of wasn't. Now, the watch got a lot of love, no doubt about it, and like I said, it's become its own identity. Now, when the Black Bay 58 came out, it changed that. And it changed when I had it on my wrist too, because it's when I realized that Tudor did it the best this time. They were able to position the 58 right in the middle of the dive watches from 1954 and between the Heritage Black Bay that was introduced in 2012. It still kept that snowflake hands and some of the other details, but yet it was on a smaller side. Now the watch is 39mm and it's around 3mm thinner than the Heritage Black Bay. Now the other thing is that it's also kept that beautiful two-tone gold black-ish dial and bezel from the original dive watches from the 50s. Now, although I thought I was familiar with the Black Bay 58, I really wasn't. When I put it the first time on my wrist is when I realized that this is, whoa, this is something else. And for anybody out there that was familiar with Tudor before, maybe had on, some time with the Heritage Black Bay, it is total different watch. The Black Bay 58 is total different watch from the Heritage Black Bay, just the regular one. Now, if you have a wrist on the larger side, like larger than average, the Black Bay 58, I'm not sure, might not be the best option for you at 39mm. But I mean, with the average wrist right now, I still do enjoy once in a while wearing a 36, 37mm watch. So I think you guys should be fine, but you have to keep this in mind. The watch is not big, so if anything, you should probably stick back to the Heritage Black Bay 41mm. Now, when the Black Bay 58 was announced in 2018 at the Bezel World, it became one of the most talked about watches, an instant hit and an international success. And it was all for a good reason. Like I said, the most important thing that the Black Bay 58 brings to the table is the size. At 39mm and 11.9mm thick, it makes it a full 2mm smaller in diameter and nearly 3mm thinner than the original Heritage Black Bay. Now, you might not think that 2mm is a lot, but when it comes to a watch like this, it's literally night and day. I was always a big fan of the Heritage Black Bay, but I found that it was bothering me the fact that it was a little bit too big. And with the Black Bay 58, boom, problem solved. The watch is basically the size of a vintage Tudor Submariner, and it actually has a lot of details to match. First off, there are no crown guards, which I think, in my personal opinion, it elevates the watch a little bit. Now, while you have the options to buy the watch in a leather strap, NATO strap, I think the watch would be incomplete without the metal bracelet. And you know, in this case, you were looking at multiple factors, and the number one is the fact that it's a diver's watch, and it cannot be full-on complete if it doesn't have the metal bracelet, because a leather strap or a NATO strap is not as good in the water. It will not perform as good in the water long term as the metal bracelet. Now, the other point is the price. You're saving more money if you're getting the watch originally on the metal strap or on the metal bracelet. And I'll throw in some quick, easy numbers. Let's say the leather strap Tudor Black Bay 58 would cost $4,700. Now, the metal bracelet costs brand new $5,000. So the difference is around $300 when you buy it leather versus metal. Now, let's say you get the leather strap because you don't want to spend $300. You're saving $300 here, but if on the long run you want to get a metal bracelet for the Tudor Black Bay 58, then the bracelet would cost around $700, maybe even $800. So the bracelet will cost a lot more to buy it later. And if you get it on the bracelet now, you can get a leather strap later. It doesn't cost you as much. So if we're looking from this standpoint, you're saving more money. Now, the bracelet is a rivet-style bracelet, and although a lot of people complain about the rivets popping out, you know, on the sides, when you have a full-on look at the watch from a straight looking at the face of it, you do see the rivets popping out, and visually, aesthetically, it's not the most pleasant. But with that being said, as soon as you put the watch on your wrist, from the normal angle that we constantly look at the wrist, it gets hidden. We don't see that anymore. So if you see it on the pictures right now and you're not a fan of the metal bracelet because of those rivets, keep in mind it's totally different when you see it in real life or when you have it on your wrist. That is not a problem anymore. Now, a huge upside to the bracelet is the fact that it's very easy to size it on your own. You just need the right size screwdriver and you can do it at home. And I have a huge problem with my Longines Hydro Conquest. Whenever my wife wants to wear the watch, I have to take out like 4 links, and I cannot do it on my own, so I have to take it to the watch shop and they do it. And it's the same thing when I want to pick up the watch. I have to add a bunch of links. I cannot do it at home. So this is a problem that Tudor does not have. So Tudor has solved the problem with this. You can do it at home, super easy. Now, as a throwback to those old school 1950 watches, Tudor decided to go with the gold and black dial. So we have the gold in the dial, we have the gold on the bezel, on the Tudor logo, the hands, the hour market, and basically everywhere. Now, although Tudor considers this as pink gold, to be honest, if you look at the description, it's not really the same. In real life, I see it more as yellow gold and black. So do not be fooled by that. I don't know exactly what Tudor means by pink gold, but it's not pink gold. Now let's talk about the movement. While you cannot see the movement on the Black Bay 58 because it has a closed case back, that movement is very important in this watch. The in-house Tudor Caliber MT5402 is a brand new movement that was created specifically for this watch. And in order to get the Black Bay 58 dimensions down, Tudor just couldn't use an existing movement from what they've created in the past. So they just had to come up with a whole new movement. Now, the movement 5402 is much smaller in diameter and thinner than the other movements that you see in the other Black Bay watches that are much larger. Now, the old MT5602 was around 31 millimeter in diameter, while the new MT5402 is around 26 millimeter across. Also, the new movement MT5402 is giving us around 70 hours of power reserve, which makes me really happy. And you guys have probably heard it in the previous videos where I'm talking about power reserve. I don't think 40 to 48 hours of power reserve is enough. I think, and I love when watches push for more than that, and I think 70 hours of power reserve is really great. Now, the moment you put the Black Bay 58 on your wrist, you instantly realize that this is a very special watch. It's modern, no doubt about it, but it's sturdy. It feels like you can throw anything at it, but it also have that new sparkle and shine creation that only new watches have. With that being said, the watch still has an old soul. You can see that in the dial, you can see that in the bezel, you can see that in overall watch. You know, although it's shiny and tough and, you know, throw anything at me, I'll do it. it does feel like it has an old soul. It does feel like there's an older presence in the watch. Now the fact that the dial and the bezel have the same color and the same idea, it feels like a great transition from the dial to the bezel, which makes the watch wear just a little bit larger. So although the watch is 39mm like I mentioned, it doesn't hang over the edges obviously, but it also gives it a feeling of being just a touch larger. And initially I actually thought that the watch was a 40mm, not 39. So you know, for anybody out there that thinks 39 might be just a touch smaller, know the fact that it feels like a 40. Personally, after wearing the watch for around 3 days now, I think that the best selling point of this watch is versatility. Because of its medium size, it looks good on the bracelet or almost on any strap out there. And it's a great candidate for, you know, a first watch or just another watch to the collection. It's so slim that, you know, I can feel like I can wear it with anything and anywhere. It doesn't have that cuff snagging issues that you get with a lot of the other watches. So although I can wear it, you know, with a suit or with something more formal, I feel like I can also wear it with a t-shirt, jeans, or some shorts or something just like extremely casual. So overall, I just find this watch to be the perfect go anywhere and do anything and go nowhere and do nothing watch. If that makes sense. Alright, with that being said, thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I was very happy to review the watch. I was very happy to spend time with this watch. And I hope you were too. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to never miss when I drop a new video. And with that being said, take care.